Hi guys, my name's Ashley. This video I'll be talking about cleansing yourself and protecting yourself from negative energies, which as a witch I know a lot of us struggle with being overly sensitive and taking a lot on. So firstly, the first step is to clean your house. That means saging everything down and really just cleaning it. Like throwing stuff out from 7 years ago, going through your closets, organizing it, really like getting all that negative stuff that's kind of trapped in there out, vacuuming and visualizing all the negative being sucked away, uh, even going to the nearest church if you're comfortable with that. If you have any contacts there, and getting some holy water and wiping down the walls can help a lot too, because our home is, our place where we lay our head, but also it's where we feel comfortable. And if you feel like, you're having more fights with your partner or your roommate, you could need to do a lot more cleansing there. Also, that goes the same for your work environment. I used to work at this really negative work environment, where I would counsel homeless people who were in a sort of permanent supportive housing through HUD program, who had all had some kind of substance abuse issue. So they all, whenever they would come in my office, they would all carry that, that lowest of the low type energy with them. So I would keep a Himalayan salt lamp in my office, which I have one in the back there, if you can't tell. But those work really well for getting the negative and turning it into a positive, as well as if you work in a negative environment, you could also try keeping a cup of holy water or Florida water and charge it yourself if you don't feel comfortable going to church. And you can keep that on your desk, and if people ask about it, oh, why you got some water there all the time, you can just say, oh, I just get bloody noses, it's for the humidity. But another important thing too, tip 3, is, I think tip 3, is just to protect yourself from those energy drainers. Everybody has them. It could be a coworker that's just nasty. It could be a family member. It could be a friend who just wants to take from you. And that happens a lot when you're a high vibrational spiritual person. People, they just feel drawn to that and they just want your energy. What I like to do is I like to visualize a mirror in front of myself so that those people, they're getting that energy that they want, but they're not getting it from me. And it's in a loving way, both for them and for you. One of the tarot readers I follow, Christiana Gaudet, she calls it wearing a psychic condom, because you want to be able to interact with people in, your world in a pleasurable way. You don't want to put on, I guess, shielding, as they call it, because it sounds too much like going to war, when you're just hanging out with your family members for some coffee, or going with, your really kind of annoying friend, that's always talking about, oh, I need to break up with him. And instead of you feeling that every time, she brings it up, you could put on that shield and still allow yourself to be there for that friend or be there in that uncomfortable family get together, but you leave there still feeling empowered and still feeling like yourself. My next tip is just every day when you get up in the morning to try and cleanse yourself, whether that be Reiki, if you give yourself Reiki, if you're Reiki attuned, or just checking in with yourself and saying, okay, what do I need today? What is my energy like when I wake up in my home? With taking salt baths, that can be helpful too. Or, when you're in the shower, that's when I usually give myself Reiki attunements. And if you do feel overwhelmed by all the sensitiveness that you're experiencing, maybe you're getting more psychic messages, it's okay. It's all a part of opening up. So I like to think of that as a shower head, when you're in the shower and you're just looking up at the water and it's just kind of hitting you and it's kind of painful. But then after you sit there for a while like that, it kind of you kind of get used to it, right? So at this point, you're kind of developing that tolerance towards all the messages you're getting. But if it's overwhelming for you, which, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's overwhelming for me. There's other stuff you can do too, right? So there's crystals you can get. One of the crystals I like to use is this amethyst. So amethyst is really good if you get psychic headaches or migraines. Like right here, I always get them. But you can use this amethyst to kind of check in with yourself, um, help you deal with all that emotions, but also it connects you to messages as well. And you don't want to shut yourself off from receiving the messages. You just want to be more in your zone, if that makes any sense. So amethyst is really good for that. Another one that I wear on a daily basis is fluorite. Fluorite is also good for headaches, but it helps you have clarity and focus. One of the things about being a psychic person or an empath is you always have these downloads. I'm clairsentient, so I kind of get instant downloads like a computer chip. So for me, I always kind of have to ask myself, the questions of, okay, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Is this, relating to blah, 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 blah? You kind of have to play Nancy Drew sometimes. But this fluorite, it's good because it helps you find focus and clarity, and it helps open you up as well. So it'll help you organize and sort through all those messages. Another stone that I like to use is citrine. Citrine's really good. You don't really have to clean it too much. So if you're a low maintenance witch like me, it's pretty good to have. So I usually wear that so that I can be more balanced when it comes to receiving energy. And then another stone I like to use is angelite. I don't have angelite with me. I gave it to someone who I thought needed it. But angelite I love because it's kind of like getting like a big hug and a hot cocoa and a back massage from your spirit guides. Like as soon as you hold it, you just feel that energy and it's like, ah. But angelite, it works to open you up to more messages, but it helps you deal with like difficult emotions. So if you're feeling like anxiety or overwhelmed or depressed, your guides will come to you and they'll be like, okay, I have your back, I'm here. And it also connects you to the angels as well. So the angels will move things out of your way or make sure that things are falling into place for you so that you're not in such an emotional upheaval. And then lastly, you can also program objects for you. So this egg I got from this wonderful druid lady. I don't know what it symbolizes in that faith. But for me, when I hold on to it and I look at it, I always feel kind of balanced because as you can see, it's kind of like different colors. And then also, I feel like that connected goddess energy. So for me, it's a very grounding thing that I kind of pull out when I'm having a moment. And another crystal I forgot to mention is leopidolite, which a lot of witches use for the anxiety, myself included sometimes. Sometimes you need to have it. There's herbs too you can get if you're experiencing like anxiety from opening up or having too many messages. A good one to look into is valerian root. You can get it at CVS. It's pretty cheap. Don't take more than 2 capsules though, because it is a little tranquilizer. But if you're a little up here someday, it's good, and you won't be sent for rehab for it, so that's always a plus. And then lastly, scratch that lastly before, you can always go to your metaphysical store and see if they can help you out. I talked about angelite and some other stones, but Go to your nearest metaphysical store and see what they have to say, or see what stones speak to you. One thing that I like to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed with the psychic messages that I receive is I like to go to a metaphysical store and I'll walk around and I'll just kind of breathe in like that yummy spiritual energy, and then I'll leave feeling happy after I do a little shopping, because, metaphysical stores can't pay the rent from you feeling safe and comforted by the fact that there's a metaphysical store in your area and there's yummy spiritual energy there. Um, so, you know, doing the work and making sure that you are cleansed and you are shielded is probably the most important part of psychic development and being an empath. Um, because if you don't do that, then you're just going to end up like a rock and roll star that's been up partying all night. It does get a little crazy. But if you follow all those steps, you'll be fine. And like I said earlier, it's kind of like being in front of the shower head. Eventually, you're going to get used to it. But until then, just breathe, practice those breathing exercises, do some meditations, and trust in your guides. You're opening up for a reason, and don't let people take your power away from you. Thanks for watching.